commentary, entertainment, sports, news, and opinion now. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show. You knew that's where you were. Joining us now, I'm very happy to say, is our friend Noah Rothman, writer and editor at Mediaite.com. Hello, Noah.
Steve, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's always my pleasure. Okay, let me ask you. First of all, we just had the news of Dinesh D'Souza being pleading guilty. I wonder how you think this is going to be covered. Interesting. We've had two guests on this so far. The first one was Daniel Harper, online editor of the Weekly Standard, who basically said that he felt if Dinesh was going to wind up pleading guilty, that he should have kind of been upfront with people from the beginning, defenders, supporters, and said, don't go to bat for me on this one. Don't put yourself out there for me on this one. And then we had Gerald Molen on exclusively just before you, a couple before you, and he said that he's not going to walk away from his friend. He supports him. He thinks this prosecution was politically motivated. And, and all these, they excused Harry Reid when they found that he gave money to his granddaughter from campaign funds, but they went after him for this little bit of amount of money. So how do you think the media is going to wind up spinning this?
Well, I think the former reaction doesn't really surprise me. That I've seen a lot of people on the right side of the political spectrum displaying a fair amount of frustration, and I don't want to impute emotional motives, but almost hurt at the way in which that Mr. D'Souza kind of reversed himself. A lot of people went out in front of this thing. They suggested that this, while maybe not politically motivated, the prosecution was a little excessive considering the crime, where it is a violation, but it's not necessarily a really humongous violation. And there are others that haven't been prosecuted, as you noted. So there was a lot of people who came out in front of this and believed Mr. D'Souza, who said that he was being, politically prosecuted in order to punish enemies of the administration. And for him to plead guilty to this just sort of reinforces the notion that he wasn't being especially forthright from the beginning. So if there's not a conservative united front, the press is predisposed, as you know, to cover conservatives who are embroiled in a controversy of any kind from the left side of the spectrum. And there is not a united conservative front here. So I expect, if there is coverage of this event, and I haven't seen any, that it will be covered from a perspective of Mr. D'Souza being not forthright, disingenuous, and breaking the law.
Right. Yeah, I was surprised because you would think that they would make him a target, and even Drudge. Drudge, you could argue, if he's not trying to make it a big deal. But I looked for it all over. I said, well, I can't even find it on Drudge. It was like on the right side all the way, maybe more than halfway down, a little one-liner. And I'm like, oh, okay. I expected, D'Souza pleads guilty. I expected a big siren or something, but it really wasn't there. Let's talk about the VA scandal and the media coverage of the VA scandal, Noah. I got to tell you, Jake Tapper really impressed the heck out of me going after McDonough, the White House Chief of Staff, the other day, saying, almost a quote here is, how many dead veterans do you need before the president does something, or how many does he need before he does something? Aside from that, I don't know, maybe you know more than me, I haven't seen much outrage, certainly not much done about the story that broke, I think, yesterday, I lose track of time, where it indicated that the administration had been told during the transition in '08 that there were problems and that this was going on and there were two sets of books, et cetera, throughout the system.
Yeah, very little from the other side of the political press. Conservative media has been all over the story. Jake Tapper, who's always been great on veterans issues, he's been covering this story pretty extensively. But you have not seen a whole lot from the other side of the aisle. And I think it's kind of self-evident why. This is an extraordinarily toxic scandal for any administration, especially for a Democratic administration that is running essentially on expanding government-funded, government-assisted healthcare to the rest of the American public. It strikes right at the heart of the argument associated with the ACA that more people need government assistance for medical care that can't be a voucherized system. It really strikes at the heart of the Democratic argument for more, stronger, bigger government protections for America's most needy, most vulnerable. And it is extremely embarrassing when you have Jay Carney coming out again yesterday and repeating the refrain that the president just learned about this in the press. And that may be true for the issues involving covering up of wait times, which appears to now be a systematic effort across multiple hospitals, almost to the point where it probably goes higher than we think it does. But he has been aware of this wait time issue because not only was his administration informed of it during the transition period, but he campaigned on it in 2007. He was running stump speeches on how the Bush administration had failed veterans because the wait times were excessive. This is not a new issue for them. It's just extremely embarrassing for the press.
No, I couldn't agree more, and I got to tell you, I think that you know, they're giving him a pass to a great extent on certainly on that claim. And you know, wasn't it that the president found out about the IRS scandal in the press too? Wasn't that the claim back then?
That was exactly the claim back then, and I think the Washington Free Beacon had a good supercut of all the times that the president has learned about scandals and controversies that just kind of occur to him in the press, and it's become rather hard to believe, considering that the president is either a completely an unwitting bystander or a super genius mastermind, and almost nothing in the middle. whenever he wants.
Well. If the Washington Free Beacon has that video, I'm sure I'll be finding it on Mediaite as well, and I'll be sure to make sure we get that and play that for the folks. Let's talk about the New York Times because I don't even know where to go. I mean, I think you guys had posted a video of Melissa Harris Perry, if I'm not mistaken, and she was talking to one of the hosts about how. Yes, you know, she could have been fired for good reason, but also because of sexism. Just like when someone, and we're talking the same person here, someone could criticize Obama with good reason, valid criticism, but it could also be racist. I mean, I think they're all cracking up.
Yeah, it's interesting to see kind of two ends of ideologically aligned portions of the media kind of going at one another here. The Times and the Times defenders, notably a few people at Politico I can think of, are going out really way in front of the story and saying there's no evidence that there was anything remotely sexist here. You could impute the motive of sexism to the fact that she was let go because of poor managerial style or a conflictual managerial style, but that's really an imparting of a motive from you. There's no evidence to support that fact. And then you have the usual suspects who are married to the notion that gender, race, politics motivate everything. It's just the baseline background radiation for anything that happens, saying, well, of course there's a sexist motive there because how could there not be? Whether you see it or not, it is like privilege, it's in the ether. So you have this war going on between them for the narrative over what happened to Jill Abramson. And it's rather fun to watch. I think Republicans and conservatives are happy to step back and watch this feud unfold.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Noah, Hillary. You know, I hearken back to the quotes that I think Karl Rove read the other day on Fox, where he quoted how the Clinton campaign just savaged, pardon the expression, savaged Bob Dole with old and, you know, I don't even have them all, worn out, out of it, etc. And that apparently was fine, going after Bob Dole, a decorated, you know, a war veteran who served his country and came back wounded. That's fine, but God forbid you bring up Hillary's health because she's a woman. Uh-oh.
Bob Dole, John McCain, George H.W. Bush, and all of them were veterans, and all of them had this issue of and Ronald Reagan, all of them had this issue of age brought up, and their health records in particular brought up, because every every presidential candidate has had to reveal their health records. It's just become standard practice. As a matter of fact, when President Obama was chiding Mitt Romney for not releasing his tax records, he used the example of health records as just a perfunctory disclosure that everybody does. It's not something that's even asked for, it's expected of you. And to move this over into some sort of a sexist or an ageist argument is so shallow and so hollow and so transparent as to be absolutely laughable. But it's only laughable to the people who would dare call that out and don't want the utility of that political argument to shut people up. Because that's all there is to this argument. You've heard people like Gloria Borger, CNN's chief political analyst, saying that, yeah, last time Hillary Clinton ran as the candidate of experience. This time she's running as a woman. That's it.
Yeah, no,
and that's really all there is to this candidacy.
Absolutely, and Noah, if the Republican nominee doesn't understand that they better go full steam ahead and not tiptoe around the gender issue and not be afraid of being accused like the way McCain and Romney were of the race issue, they might as well not even run. Hey, Noah, always great to talk to you. Check them out and check them all out at Mediaite.com, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Noah Rothman. Appreciate it.
Steve.
When we come back, it's Gimme 5. You know it, you love it, you got to have it, right? And it's coming up next right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't you go away.